Vlad would love to have Jaguar on his show, right? He would get more views than any interview that he's done all year.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just ain't real life street stars. Know what time it is.
Can I ask you your thoughts on Jaguar Wright speaks on Piers Morgan? Vlad TV comes on right after her to call her a conspiracy theorist. You just spoke on academics, of course, fact checking. What would you say towards Vlad TV as far as speaking on Jaguar right after she got on Piers Morgan?
The same thing. Vlad would love to have Jaguar on his show, right? He would get more views than any interview that he's done all year. He's not stupid. So I don't know why that he would say that he would never allow Jaguar on his platform when Vlad has allowed killers on his platform. And Vlad has stirred up so many of these shootings, like in Jacksonville and in Chicago. Like he's not a good person at all. And like he's the reason why like white people are called culture vultures, because of people like him, right? Like he shouldn't even said anything, because he doesn't believe that. He would love to have Jaguar on Vlad TV because he would get more views than he has for any of these other lame interviews he's doing.
So can I ask you, when you see someone says like a Ray J, Jaguar Wright is crazy, if they bring up your name, oh, what he's talking about is just crazy. What do you say to those who just try to write that off as crazy because it sounds so, I guess you could say, unbelievable?
So prove it. So prove it that she's crazy. Prove it that she's not telling the truth. Because a lot of people are listening and paying attention to her.
Right. It seems as if they say someone needs to produce receipts. Sometimes it's hard to produce a receipt of something that you visually saw with your own eyes. You didn't take a picture, you didn't write it down. Someone just telling you what they recall from just seeing it, or a phone call they got. We live in a world back then, there was no receipts back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was before social media or like text messaging was very heavy. And you didn't keep the text messages back then. There was no cloud storage to where I could have a receipt from 20 years ago. It's just basically going off memory. Like, I'm sure everything that you're saying is going off of your memory of what happened versus, oh, I went home and I took a picture, or I wrote this down in an email and sent it to myself so I could bring it up 20 years later. What do you say to that as far as the time gap which these things occurred versus retelling your story now?
I mean, listen, I agree with what you're saying, but there's also the other side of it too, is we also have to protect some of the people around us that don't want to be out there, that don't want to be known. Like, for example, there's a woman who, she has 4 kids and she's in New York, and she's like going to like Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and doing stuff for the kids. She doesn't want other parents to know about her past. And, so when we say some things, we have to hold some stuff back to protect other people that were around that don't want to be associated by that. You understand what I'm saying? So I know that she has that as well.
That's very true. And I think some people forget that sometimes other people are affected by stories that are being told where they have children, and you have to look into all of that and the ramifications of it.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, It just, I just get real frustrated about when I see these people talk about, okay, Jaguar wasn't there. And if she wasn't there, then she knows somebody who's came to her and talked to her, because I've been getting that so much, as I said.
Can I ask you in regards to even with what Sean Combs, what Diddy's going through, to see the lack of celebrities or people that technically were around at these parties, whether they were into some freak offs or not, is it surprising to see not many people speaking up? Like, what's your take on when you see other celebrities that were around him or called him a friend not speaking up at this time?
Well, I think that's that's to be expected because that the industry, they like you when you're hot. They don't mess with you when they're cold. So I'm not really surprised by nobody coming out and speaking out to his defense because with all the victims that are coming forward, how could you really? Because the hip hop community, as you guys know, will come together for a cause. We'll come together to, fight the power and to fight for what is right. But, people are just seeing too much evidence, too many victims, too much, too much stuff to really be like, okay, nothing happened here.
Right.
There's just too much.
Well, did you ever run into Farnsworth Bentley while dealing with Diddy?
I never did. No, he was, I dealt with Diddy. Like this is up until 2021 with the Notorious Big Estate.
Oh, okay.
So I think he was gone.
What do you say to people that would say both you, Jaguar, others, let's say like I don't want to speak on the victims right now, but just for you and Jaguar, what would you say for those that might say, hey, you have a vendetta to pick with either Jay-Z, with either Diddy, or whoever it is? It seems like Jay-Z is a target as of now. Now that Diddy is already arrested, is it a vendetta against Jay-Z? If someone said if someone used those words and said they have a vendetta against him.
Well, for sure, it's a vendetta. It's a vendetta for to speak for the people who can't speak, for the victims who can't say anything, who are scared, who are living in fear, who have been traumatized. So I don't know if vendetta is the right word. I'm definitely angry about it, and I definitely am just not gonna not say anything. Like when I started speaking out, I didn't know it would turn into so much. And I didn't know that it would turn into so many people reaching out to me, offering support and encouragement and talking to their stories and sharing their pain and sharing their trauma. So now it's deeper than that, because now I feel responsibility and an accountability for all these people that have been wronged by these celebrities.
Jonathan, how were you treated when you were dealing with them? Diddy and Jay-Z, how were you treated by them?
I was treated I was treated good. It was just, it's all fake love, right? Like Jay-Z never paid. Diddy always did, and especially dealing with like the Notorious Big Estate and CJ Wallace, they never complained about that. Like Diddy was always seemed to be pretty generous with coming through on his word. Jay-Z, from my dealings with him, he doesn't. He's like a slow payer type person, so, I don't really know. But now I know that they're upset, right? Because people are coming to speak out. And let's be honest, Jay-Z and Beyonce, they're starting to fall off. And there's a chink in their armor. And people like us are just going forward because finally something penetrated through No Diddy that we are able to go after Jay and bring Jay down and have him face justice. Because we couldn't have done this a year ago. We couldn't have done this before they had Diddy in custody and before, the investigation started and everything else. It showed that they weren't above the law anymore. You know what I mean? So people have came together and people are rallying together. And yeah, there's several people talking, but that's amongst a whole bunch of people that are coming to us.
Yeah, I won't argue that. Can I ask you, if you were invited on Piers Morgan, would you accept the invitation?
Of course, I would go on Piers Morgan and I would want to talk about why that he didn't allow, why he censored his I would want to know. I would want to talk to him and find out why he did that, just going strictly off the word, off no facts. Just off the word of the lawyer. That's what I would like to know. I'd love to go on his show. I would never go on Vlad TV show. I keep calling it Vlad TV. I never go on Vlad's show. you know. And I think Joe Budden is, you know, real whack too. I've dealt with Joe Budden from Slaughterhouse, right? Crooked Eye, King Crooked, Royce the 5'9", Joe Ortiz. You know, I dealt with Slaughterhouse, right? From the Crooked Eye side mainly. I worked with Crooked Eye for many years. And so I know Joe Budden. And for him to speak out against Jaguar and disrespect her is crazy too. Like, you know, he was defending Star from Star and Buck Wild. Like, and I was shocked. Like, as a man, I was embarrassed to hear Star call her the B word nonstop over and over again. Like, he could have got his point across without saying the B word over and over again. He could still correct her. He could still debate with her. But why disrespect a woman and call her the B word over and over and over again? And then Joe Budden to co-sign that and give that a pass and, you know, be like he agrees with Star. So it's like, okay, you agree with verbal abuse. That's what Joe Budden is saying. I agree with verbal abuse, which is surprising considering that I think Joe Budden is like the adult contemporary podcast. You know, it's just like the older, like at the end of the dial AM radio type, soft, easy listening, whack. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Star, yeah, the conversation between Star and Jaguar, disrespectful a lot of times as far as calling a woman out her name. And I understand some things do get sensationalized, but yeah, you're right. A conversation can be had without getting to that level.
Shout out Reallyfe Street Starz, nigga. Move. Hey.